Overwatch League Stage 2, Week 4, Day 3, Map number 3 in the match between the LA Gladiators and Florida Mayhem. What a stunning series for sure, but specifically this map is what left a big impression on a lot of people. Particularly the first offense of the LA Gladiators that utilized a hero that, up until this point, has never seen more than 30 seconds of use on Hollywood in the league. And of course, we're talking about May. In today's video, we're going to take a close look at the strategy that the LA Gladiators used to take the first point on Hollywood in their very first attempt. Even though the analysts made an effort to break down what happened, I was left a bit disappointed with their attempt of doing so. With that said, I had a whole night to think about how I want to present this to you guys, while they had to do it on the spot, so it's not exactly a fair comparison. At any rate, the reason I chose this play in particular is because, as brilliant and creative as it might seem, the Gladiators are taking advantage of very basic Overwatch principles. So basic in fact that you and I can take advantage of it ourselves in our own matches on ladder when playing different compositions entirely. So let's take a look at what we are dealing with here. On the Gladiator side we got Reaper, Roadhog, D.Va, Mei, Lucio and Moira. Opposing that on the defense, Florida Mayhem got Junkrat, Roadhog, Soldier 76, Mercy, Zenyatta and also D.Va. Now there are a few characteristics that you have to know about Hollywood, and that comes down to high ground play. You got two buildings featuring high ground, which include the one here at the front and the cafe at the back. What you will often see on this map are compositions featuring Soldier 76 and Mercy, who is set up in the cafe, because it gives the soldier player the optimal range to get damage out on the front entrance, as well as the possibility for them to fall back into the lower level. Looking at the composition that the Gladiators chose, you would think that they have a hard time contesting that. And they do. As some of you might have learned in my video breaking down the basic principles of dive compositions, high ground is a very valuable asset in Overwatch, and contesting it is very important, because if you don't, then you're taking a truckload of damage for free. Now, it's not like a dive comp would not work here at all, but there are a few difficulties to work around. For one, we got Swoosh on the Roadhog positioning himself right on the point. If you try to dive the high ground, you have to pass him first. Chances are that either of your tanks are gonna get hooked, your dive loses survivability, and you get blown up on the spot. Furthermore, you don't have the space to freely choose your target if the enemies retreat into the building. A dive composition that can't take fights on their own terms will often struggle to get anything done at all. So what the Gladiators try to do with their May Reaper composition is exactly that: take a fight on their own terms. Choose the battlefield that favors them rather than the Florida Mayhem. It is my belief that the Gladiators went with a Reaper May composition specifically because of two reasons. For one, they have seen Tivik on the Sombra early on Volskaya. If you play a Sombra on Hollywood first point defense, your health pack of choice is gonna be the one in the cafe. It is in a safe position for your supports to retreat to, and it is also right next to the point. It's also difficult to get to if you're on the offense, because you either have to go through the entire defensive lineup before getting to it, or you make a wide telegraph flank around the back. At any rate, May and Reaper are both not that affected by Sombra's hack or EMP. Shotguns can still do a ton of damage, and May can be just as disruptive and freeze people even when hacked. But the Gladiators need to make sure that their gamble pays off, so even if Mayhem isn't running a Sombra, they need a plan B and C that they can fall back to. A strategy that works on its own merit. And that's the second reason for going with this comp, because on this map it does exactly that. The first thing you will notice they do is send Fissure to the left side to take a good look at what the Mayhem is running, as also where they decided to position themselves. Fissure traditionally plays D.Va most of the time anyway, so giving that piece of information away is not that big of a deal. But the rest of the team makes sure they are not seen, and by that avoid taking damage as well. Once they got the intel, the first course of action is pulling up a May wall to block LOS to the damage boosted Soldier and Zenyatta on high ground to avoid taking unnecessary damage or possibly even getting picked off. So they use the May wall as a cover to wrap around the back and make a straight run for Tivik. And now, pay attention to Tivik's ultimate percentage. The position he took was not bad by any means. He had direct LOS to the objective, and he can retreat into the tight corridor if he gets pressured. And as we all know, it's really difficult to avoid Junkrat's explosives there. So within seconds he's going to charge his Riptire because the Gladiators come at him as a massive death ball. And that's why they need the D.Va and the Moira to negate some of that damage and heal everyone up very swiftly. At this point they have to expect expect Mayhem to have that Rip Tower, which means they need to make a move quickly. What's worth noting here too is that their composition works even after Fissure has fallen. If you think back to the match between the Houston Outlaws and the Gladiators on King's Row, the Outlaws failed because they were trying to go with a strategy that was already handicapped by the composition the Gladiators were running. But the Gladiators in this case made sure that they can continue the push even if a few pieces are missing. And unlike most of their compositions, Fissure was not the key ingredient they needed to succeed. And at this point, you might notice what they were trying to do. May and Reaper are both heroes who exceed on close range, so if you take a fight in the cafe, it is near impossible to avoid their damage. And you might think that now they're in a bit of trouble because the Mayhem noticed the threat and made a rotation onto the point. But here's where the absolutely supreme performance of hydration on May comes into effect. He takes out the Mercy, which not only means they no longer have a damage boost for the soldier, but it also takes away a lot of survivability for the Mayhem. And he then goes on to negate any value the soldier could have left on his high ground position by blocking LOS with another wall. Absolutely brilliant at this point is that Bishu expected, heard, and took care of the Junkrat tower coming out of spawn. A move that Tavik was almost forced to do given that his team was already in big trouble at this point. So Hydration and Surefour used the wall to rotate towards the high ground that Manitin feels so comfortable on. They caught Swoosh on his way up and they do what they do best. Close range burst DPS with hard CC that doesn't even allow the Roadhog to heal up. What you can't see at this point is that Fissure has returned as Winston to jump up and contest the high ground instead of the rest of his team, allowing them to have a strong presence on point while simultaneously forcing the Mayhem down into an unfavorable position. And from here on out, it's all just clean up for the Gladiators to take the first point. The reason that this worked so well was because the Gladiators know the map. They know where they can take fights with any given composition they choose, and they make the call for a lineup that does not only negate any benefits the Mayhem tried to have with their comp, but they also play to their own advantages given hero and map design. The Mayhem was clearly trying to counter the dive by giving themselves a long sightline, pumping damage into the opposing tanks before they can even get to them, and then disrupt and take them out with a close range burst in the form of Roadhog and Junkrat. A great anti-dive lineup for this map that ended up not working because, well, the Gladiators were not running a dive. So here's what we can learn from it for our own matches. The Gladiators knew that the long sightline the Mayhem tried to abuse would give them a lot of trouble. A telegraphed dive is not going to work because, again, they're going to take too much damage before even initiating. So they cut the line of sight off, played a close range comp, and forced the Mayhem to take a fight where it doesn't benefit them, away from the high ground and away from their optimal damage range. You can adapt this for so many different compositions on so many different maps. Any map that features high ground and long sightlines, abuse them on defense and avoid them on offense. And whatever composition you decide to run, always try to choose your battlefield carefully. Always play to your own strength rather than taking fights where it doesn't benefit you. And that's why it's so important to understand how to play a comp and also know why you play it. A team that doesn't know all these things could have fallen apart the moment they run into a Junkrat on close range or the moment the enemies rotate out of the cafe. Know the map and pick your comp accordingly. Analyze the enemy comp, and if you know you can't directly counter it, deny them any value instead. And ultimately, don't play into their cards. Choose the battlefield yourself and enforce your game plan onto the opposition. The Gladiators took advantage of all these basic principles to come up with this, admittingly very creative comp that helped them take the first point, roll into the second one, and ultimately finish off strong to win the series. What a stunning display of skill, knowledge, and adaptation. But this is gonna wrap up our video for today. Analyzing pro play is a bit of new territory for me, but I hope I did a sufficient job of breaking down the action for you guys. If you enjoy this type of content, then do let me know by dropping me a like on your way out or by leaving a comment down below. If there are any other compositions or specific plays in the league that you want me to break down, then feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Terios Gaming. Do make sure to only use recent matches though, as relevancy is very important when making videos. At any rate, thank you everybody so much for watching, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you all next time.